Hello everyone, it's Sean from taekwondosean.com, and today we're diving into Poomsae number 7. We're getting up there, we're almost done, the 8 Taeguek Poomsae, so let's dive in. This one's gonna be a tough one. Check it out. So Poomsae number 7, we can break it down into 5 parts. There's 25 motions, so we're going to put 5 motions in each of the 5 parts. And that way we're breaking down the Poomsae a little bit more than usual, but it is going to be a little bit of a longer Poomsae than what we're used to. Alright, so let's jump in. We're going to show you part 1. Alright, so what's new in Poomsae number 7? This. 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 This, this. So part 1 has 5 motions. We're going to start with a palm block, front kick, middle block. Palm block, front kick, middle block, and then a 2-hand knife, down block. So let's do it. Turn into tiger stance. Wait to pivot your back foot until after you've performed the Patengsong Makki on your Myeongchi height right in front of you. And then from here, you plant your foot fully, kick, come back, and then middle block. Then you half turn, very important. Your foot should face forward, and then the other foot turns fully into the tiger stance, and then you relax. And Patengsong Makki as you pivot, front kick, come back to your tiger stance, relax, and Momtom Makki. Step forward into your back stance, 뒤크비, 2-hand knife, assisted down block. From this back here, blocking like this. Okay, we've seen it like this in Poomsae number 4, but now we're doing it like this in Poomsae number 7. Now part 2, we're adding a block we haven't seen before, so let's go over it. We're doing the Patengsong Makki, but we're planting it to add power on top of this here, the Chungwon, the 2 big knuckles here. And then we perform the back of fist strike, which we've seen before in previous Poomsae. So it looks like this. You're relaxed, and then you block. And you make sure it lands right in between these 2 big knuckles here. Block the Myeongchi, bring it back, and strike the Injung. So make sure it's low, and then high. And then you do that on both sides. All right, so let's look at it. We step forward into another 2-hand knife block. Then we go into our tiger stance, pivot as we block, and then come back and strike. Turn, pivot, and then come back for the strike. And then that's the next 5 motions. Part 3 introduces the Bojumak Chumbisagi, which is where you cover your right fist with your left hand. So from here, it goes underneath your belt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You stop when it's your Injung height. You want to make sure you're tilting forward. We call it for the kids hot chocolate. So you want to be taking a sip of the hot chocolate, not spilling it on yourself. And definitely not holding it away from yourself. This isn't the marshmallow test. Turn, and then you can take a sip from here. Make sure your arms are not straight. Arms are not bent. Nicely in the middle, like Goldilocks. You know Goldilocks was a black dog, right? Okay, now from here, we're stepping forward, and we're doing the scissor block. So this is another big motion from Poomsae number 7. So the scissor block, what you're doing is you're performing an inner wrist block outward, and then a down block at the same time, making sure that neither block leaves your body line. So this is where my body ends, so my middle block ends here, and my down block ends here. So there should be no gap, no space between in the armpit area or between the body and the arm. It should be lined up perfectly. And then as you do it again, you make sure the down block goes on the inside so it comes close to your body, and then the middle block goes on the outside, and then you perform the block. So you can practice this a couple of times, maybe in a mirror with a camera so you can see yourself. Practice putting the down block on the inside is the easiest way that I've found to remember it, because this was very challenging for me. And then block, and then block, and then block, and then block. And you want to drive the shoulder for the middle block. So from here, we don't want too much upper body motion, but you want a little bit to dip that shoulder in as you perform the block. Making sure that you're twisting at the end. Okay, nice, good. And then you start adding power, and you make it fast enough that you can pause, boom, before you do the second one. And you do them 2 by 2. So ready? 1, 2, 3. And make sure that the down block always lines up with the leg that's in front. So during Poomsae number 7, we step forward with our left leg first. So we perform the blocks 1 and then 2, making sure the down block matches the leg that's in front. And then as you step forward, we have the right leg. So it's 1, 2, making sure the down block matches the leg that's in front. All right, and surprisingly in this part, the third part, there's more motions that we haven't seen before. So after we've done our bojumak jimbisagi, after we've done our scissor blocks, our kawimaki, what we're going to do is we do hechamaki for the first time in a Poomsae. Okay? So we perform our scissor block, 1, 2, we turn all the way around, foot in, foot out into the front stance, and then somebody's grabbed us by the uniform or by the shoulders, and so we stick our arms in between their arms, and then block apart, like this. Make sure the elbows are pointing down, staying close the armpit area, and your fists are your shoulder height, so not too high. And then from here, so in my front stance, I perform hechamaki, making sure my left arm is on the top, because it's my left leg in the front. Now from here, the final motion of this part is we're going to be performing the knee strike. The first time we see a knee strike in Poomsae. All right, now from here, let's perform our knee strike. So I'm going to grab my opponent. I reach forward, okay, because they're not close enough to be my lover. So I got to reach for them. And then I'm going to grab them by the shoulder, and I'm going to thrust my knee up, making sure my toe is down, my knee is up high enough. I've bent it enough to create this sharp point. It's going to have a lot of force. And I bring them down into it. But you relax your arms and make it strong at the end. So it looks like this. Arm straight, bend, straight again, making sure I'm making my fists here. Now, one thing we don't want to see is the anime like ripping somebody in half. Okay, so a lot of students will do this. Explosion. That's not the case. So make it realistic, make it practical. Hechamaki, grab, knee strike like this, and then I jump into my cross stance, my kawasagi, which we learned in Poomsae number 5, making sure my shin and my calf are touching each other for stability. And then from here, I perform my uppercut, a double punch, right here to the solar plexus area, or underneath the solar plexus area. From here, we're striking the tenjin area. So knuckles up, knuckles down. From the front, as I lunge in, knuckles up, knuckles down. Make sure I twist at the end, as usual in Taekwondo. All right, so that's the end of part 3. What a part. All right, now part 4, after we've done knee strike, the double punch, we're going to be coming back into a blocking posture, just in case, all right? Because we always want to be practical. We always want to be safe. That's the main goal of Taekwondo. All right, so after we've done our uppercut here, we step back into front stance. So the leg that was in behind in the kawasagi comes back into the front stance, apkubi, and then I'm going to perform a double down block, or a supported down block with both hands. So from the front, from here, bring it back, and block. Making sure it's straight in the center of my body, and then whatever leg's in front, down block, and supported. All right, so if I was doing the other side, it'd be the same thing on the opposite side, making sure that if my left leg's in front, my left arm is on the bottom. So after we've done our supporting down block, we're going to turn, feet in, feet out on the other side, pivot. My right arm's on top of my hechamaki this time. They're grabbing me here. So what I'm going to do, block, grab the shoulders, knee strike, jump in, punch, and then come back, supporting down block. From here, back of fist strike. Now it's important, usually strikes we use our frame. The frame is used a little bit differently with the back of fist strike to the temple. It's actually like a rail, like a railway. So what you're going to do is you're going to strike over top of your frame for this one. All right? So you're imagining from here, you grab the opponent and pull them back as you strike them on the back of the head. From here, strike. Now part 5, the last part, this is where it gets a little more difficult. Because when we're doing our back of fist strike here, we want to make sure that when we do our crescent kick, we don't drop our hand to meet the kick. All right? You wouldn't be able to pull somebody's head down to kick it. So you want to make sure your hand stays here. So you've struck them, and then you open it up to grab their head. At the last minute, bring your foot up, crescent kick. And then from here, as you perform the crescent kick, you step down into your punching stance or your horse stance, chumsagi, making sure your knees are rotated outwards. Okay? Right here, make sure you're a good, strong balance. And then you're going to take the hand that was out and just got crescent kicked, and you're going to elbow strike. Here, making sure the elbow strike comes into the center of your body, right in front of your solar plexus. Okay? Make sure your thumb is tucked in, and don't wrap. It's not my birthday yet. That's April 16th. Don't forget. So make sure it's 2 separate motions. The parkumchigi and the hand knife. Now from here, you load again on top of the frame with my other hand this time, and strike. Make sure you pull your back foot and strike with the back of the fist. Now from here, open and strike. Crescent kick, elbow strike. Now while you're performing all these motions, you're always looking straight ahead. Okay, so here, and then while I'm still looking at my target, single hand knife block, and then I'm going to be throwing this foot over, and then following it. From here, I'm going to throw it over. From the side, it looks like this. From the other side, it allows me to use my power for my punch, and it allows it more like a lunge or a fast motion than a regular step. So from here, last time, single hand knife block. And make sure you're still in your good punching stance, still looking at the target, punching low enough, and paro. Now, word about the tiger stance, the Poomsae. You want to make sure that all 10 toes are pointing in the general forward-facing vicinity. All right, there's a tendency for students to leave a foot behind when they do their tiger stance. So we don't want to be like those practitioners. So from here, when I perform my tiger stance, some students will do it like this. They'll actually leave this foot pointing forward, but you need to pivot it on the balls of your foot when you perform the motion. And make sure your upper body is straight in tiger stance. There's another tendency to stip your butt out like this when you do the tiger stance. Make sure your tiger stance, your knees are bent, and you're in nice, straight, good posture, shoulders back. Block, and then when you kick, plant this foot straight, and then as you perform the kick with the back leg, come up and pivot to relieve the tension in your hips, come back and middle block. And then the other side, same thing. Pivot, don't leave this foot behind, kick, come back and middle block. So Poomsae number 7, Taeguek Chil Jang, is anything but chill. This Poomsae has 25 motions, and there's so many that are cool and awesome, but so difficult to achieve and do properly. So you got to make sure you practice this Poomsae properly, looking at all the details, and make sure you're doing everything right, because even the slightest toes being off in the punching stance, or your knees aren't bent in the tiger stance, and the whole Poomsae could look a little sloppy or lazy, and we don't want that, especially for Taekwondo-in like you, Taekwondo practitioners. All right, so make sure you guys train hard, sweat the details, and we'll see you guys on the mats.